So I've seen a lot of people talking about the movie Clayface and why the hell are we getting a Clayface movie before we ever get a Batman movie? And I got some thoughts about it and I wanted to talk about it here. James Gunn a couple months ago announced that they were moving ahead with Mike Flanagan's script on a Clayface film, not being directed by him, but written by him. And Mike Flanagan's the guy that's done things on Netflix like The Haunting of Bly Manor. He did Dr. Sleep with Ewan McGregor, and he's really known for the horror genre of films. And essentially he wrote a script for Clayface, which is essentially a body horror film, and James Gunn quickly greenlit it because it was a very small budget of like $40 million, which is unheard of in the world of superhero movies, and they fast-tracked it. And a lot of people were like, why are they doing that instead of giving us Batman? Why are we getting a Clayface first? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, was such a smash success and spawned a spin-off in the Penguin TV show that Warner Brothers wanted to prioritize that before they ever prioritized a different Batman movie under James Gunn. So because you couldn't get a Batman film out, they started to panic because yes, they're doing a Superman movie that they have all the faith in the world in, and then they're doing a Supergirl movie, and they're doing a Green Lantern project on HBO. But at the end of the day, Batman is the most successful character under the DC banner. And if they were able to get out a Batman movie where it was filming right now, then if Superman fails and Supergirl fails and the Green Lantern doesn't reach the milestone they want to reach in terms of viewers, at least they could say, well, we got Batman right around the corner, and we know that everyone's going to show up for that to at least check that out. So they would have had Batman as like a crutch to lean on if those other movies didn't do well, but they don't have that because David Zaslav told James Gunn they have to prioritize the Batman first. They don't want to keep pushing it back because in 10 years, no one's going to be excited for a sequel to the Batman after waiting that long. So they wanted to get that sequel done before casting a new Batman and starting a Batman movie with somebody completely new. So if I was a businessman, I would be looking at it like, okay, I can't make a Batman movie right now because Matt Reeves is working on his script. But what I can do is introduce him in a different movie. Now, you can't introduce him in the Superman movie because that's going to take away from Superman. You can't introduce him in a Supergirl movie because that's going to take away from Supergirl. You can't introduce him in the Green Lantern show because you don't want your first appearance of Batman to be in a TV show. He is your biggest ticket to get people to going to the movies. James Gunn talked about how he wanted to separate his DC universe from any other cinematic universe that's ever existed because most cinematic universes consist of being one genre. The Marvel movies are all comedy adventures with a lot of heart. They've never really strayed away with that. And sure, you have some depressing stuff like the death of Tony Stark and all the other depressing stuff that happened in the MCU, but they're all still relatively the same type of thing. You get a lot of humor, you get a lot of heart, and it's an action adventure. Whereas in James Gunn was like, I want our universe to have different genres in it so that everybody across all walks of life have a movie to get excited about in our universe. We're gonna have the comical action adventures with heart, but we're also gonna have horror movies under our banner. And that's what they did with Clayface. And what better way to introduce Batman than somebody like Clayface? For those of you who don't know, this upcoming Clayface movie, it's going to be a body horror film, essentially about an actor, a struggling actor that just wants his big break. He wants to be seen by the world. He cares so much about it, and one day this awful accident happens that turns him into this monster that can essentially transform himself and look like anything he wants because he becomes made of clay. But he doesn't really know how to control it, and it often causes him to have outbursts where he turns into his true form, which looks like this. And because he's so angry and can't control it, he winds up accidentally hurting people. And because cops can't come in and just shoot him to death, they have to rely on somebody like Batman to come in and stop him. And I have absolutely no doubt that that's what's going to happen in this movie. It's going to be a movie where we're following this guy and we're rooting for him because he just wants to get his big break. This accident's going to happen to him, and then we're going to feel bad for him. Kind of like in the movie that just passed, The Substance, where you feel bad for her that she's going through this. You're going to feel bad for Clayface. And then at the end of the movie, when he's accidentally killed people and he's creating havoc across Gotham because he's just so angry and upset at what's happened to him, Batman's going to come and beat the brakes out of him and throw him in Arkham. You don't have to make a Batman movie to introduce your Batman. And now you're making a $40 million movie that's going to make $800 million because everyone on the planet is going to want to show up to see who the new Batman is. I have no doubt they're going to keep it a surprise as a way to get people in the door to see this movie. And I think it's absolutely genius. And that's why we're getting a Clayface film before we ever get a Batman film, because they can't make a Batman film right now, but they need a way to introduce Batman. And what better way to do it in a movie like Clayface, where it's also a new genre in the superhero realm, where we're gonna get a big budget horror film that's in the same universe as something like Superman and Batman. For me, I think that that's incredibly exciting. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think that it's a good idea introducing a Batman in a Clayface film? Do you think that it's dumb and we should just wait until he gets his own movie? If that's the case, how do you think that someone like Clayface could get taken down if not by somebody like Batman? Let's talk about it down in the comments below, guys. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.